I hope you had a good weekend. Last week we talked about hard tags. Hard tag or not, as Shakespeare, I think, once said. Good number of people on the call, 40 or 60, I think it was, and really good debate. A lot of fashion retailers on there who are sort of going through this sort of, we've got RFID now, we've got hard tags, all that stuff. What were your takeaways? What were your reflections on the session?
Yeah, morning, Colin. It was interesting preparing for the session because I went back and looked at what previous presentations we'd done around tagging, and it wasn't long before I was 20 years back looking at some of the debates around hard tagging, 2002 and 3 and so on. We've been having this debate, haven't we, about should you or should you not tag product, and what is the impact of tagging and all these things. So it's not a new topic, but I think what's been interesting from the session we had, I think, was you're right. The context of it was around the use of particularly RFID tags, and not necessarily replacing hard tags with RFID tags, because that's certainly not what most people are doing. I think it was what the RFID data can give us in terms of understanding the landscape of loss that is really happening in stores, and that's always been the challenge, hasn't it, with this, which is where is the loss happening? When did it happen? Was it a theft, or was it just a process issue? Was it a staff issue? So we've always had this sort of black hole of loss, haven't we, that we try and understand. And what was interesting about the session was listening to River Island talking about how they were going to try and use that data to give them the insights to really understand where the loss is happening in their stores, and then try and think about alternative ways to hard tagging to try and deal with that issue. And so that for me was a really fascinating part, because we know that hard tags, we've seen trials in the past where they do make a difference. They're a very overt form of deterrence, aren't they? It's a very physical, overt sense of the retailer saying to the shopper, you know what, if you try and steal this product, well, A, we're going to know about it because it's going to set an alarm off, and that because you can see it. But also B, in terms of, will you be able to get the tag off without damaging the product that you want? So that sense of benefit denial has often been another part of the hard tag strategy. And so, and I shared some data, didn't I, around, a trial that had been done many years ago now, but it was a trial where a company took the tags off and their losses went up really quite dramatically, and they put them back on, and the losses went back down again. So it was a fairly clear experience that they had. And so, I think what River Island are trying to do is say, okay, let's see through data, through having really high quality granular data that RFID can deliver. Can we design ways to mitigate the potential losses that may come from taking away what has been regarded as a very established way of trying to control loss in apparel?
Yeah, and I think it was interesting because it's also in the context of, I think River Island and I think many other retailers wanting to differentiate their bricks and mortar proposition. They want to make it more of a seamless journey, more of a fun experience, and but also at the same time, I guess you want to recognise that labour is more expensive and harder to get, and so could removing these hard tags enable that self-checkout, enable a more frictionless, enjoyable experience in the store. So we did those. There were some retailers out there who were going on the same lines of River Island, but I think the majority was sort of sitting back and waiting, to be honest. It felt anyway. It was quite a brave move.
It is one of these great challenges, which is, putting tags on costs money. People have got to do it. They cost money in themselves. And, as we increasingly moved, we keep talking about this sort of the frictionless stores that are now being developed, where, people are increasingly using self-checkout, and it's moving into the worlds of apparel. And River Island have clearly got a strategy that they want to bring in self-checkout into their stores. Hard tags really struggle to fit into that sort of concept, don't they? Because you got to get the thing off. And do you want the customers to be doing it? In terms of having pin tags and all this sort of thing. The amount of time, exactly the amount of time it takes to get these things off. So hard tags have always been sort of a difficult one to sell if you're trying to create really frictionless stores. But it's the same age-old problem we've had, which is this delicate balance between selling and security. How easy you want selling to be, but at the same time, how much loss are you prepared to suck up if you don't have forms of security there to try and stop people who will take advantage if they think it's terribly easy to steal from your stores. So, You know, it's going to be interesting watching them try this and seeing how particularly they're able to use the RFID data to understand that loss. But then what do you then do once you've got that data? You know, if you identify some particular products that are very hot, you know, they're being stolen on a regular basis, what do you then do about those products, or particular parts of the store, times of year? You know, there's lots of wonderful data that RFID can now give you to get those deeper insights and then think about alternative strategies to try and reduce the losses.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah. Well, look, I think Shakespeare probably wrote to Hard Tag or Not Part 2 as well. So I think we'll be doing that in about a year's time, and we'll see the results from some of the retailers who also said that they were doing similar experiments. So that should be really good. But the working group on retail loss next meets on November the 15th, where we're looking at the topic of reporting and instant reporting in stores. And we're going to hear from Walmart, from Walgreens, and from Rexall about how they've digitized their reporting process and how that's enabled a greater collaboration effort with law enforcement and the judiciary. So I'm looking forward to that on November the 15th. But thank you very much for that, Adrian. And yeah, we'll see each other in about, well, another month or so when we next meet. Thank you very much.
Take care, Colin. Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.